I kept my hand inside my jacket pocket as I sat at the small restaurant. My fingers touched the little ring box again. Tonight was supposed to change everything. I looked at the empty chair across from me and smiled. She's going to love it, I whispered. For 6 months, I had saved every extra dollar for that ring. I had skipped lunches, worked late shifts, and stopped buying things I wanted. Emma was worth every sacrifice. I would take her hand, tell her how much she meant to me, open the box, and ask the question that had been waiting inside my heart for almost 3 years. Will you marry me? Our life had never been perfect. We rented a small apartment, shared an old car, and sometimes argued over bills. But whenever Emma held my hand and said, "We'll get through this together," I believed nothing could break us. I checked the time. 8:15. She's late, I said quietly. I wasn't worried. Emma was often late. She would probably rush through the door and apologize. Then the restaurant door opened. I looked up. My smile disappeared. Emma walked inside. She looked beautiful, but something about her was different. Her face was pale, her shoulders were tense, and she held her purse tightly against her chest. I stood. Emma. She looked at me. Ethan. You're late. I know. I'm sorry. It's okay. I was starting to think you forgot about me. She didn't smile. That was the first thing that frightened me. I pulled out her chair. Sit down. Thanks. She sat slowly. What happened? Nothing. Emma. I'm fine. You're not fine. She sighed. I need to tell you something. My fingers stopped touching the ring box. Something bad. I don't know. You're scaring me. I'm sorry. I leaned forward. Whatever it is, tell me. She looked into my eyes. I met someone. For a moment, I didn't understand. What do you mean? Her lips trembled. His name is Daniel. I frowned. Daniel Blackwood? She nodded. I stared at the black box between us. What's that? Emma didn't answer. I looked at her face, then at the box. Emma, open it. Her hands shook as she lifted the lid. A diamond ring sat inside. The diamond caught the restaurant lights and reflected them across the table. That's his. I couldn't understand her. She nodded. Daniel gave it to you? Yes. When? Yesterday. I swallowed. Yesterday? Yes. Why tell me tonight? I didn't know how. I almost laughed. You could have told me the truth. I'm sorry. You keep saying that. Her eyes filled with tears. I never wanted to hurt you. Then why did you come here? She looked at the ring. Because I owed you an explanation. No, Emma. You owed me honesty. I know. I leaned back and tried to breathe. Did you accept it? She stayed silent. Emma. I said yes. You said yes. Yes. My fingers found the little box I had carried all evening. For a second, I thought about hiding it. Then I pulled it out and placed it beside Daniel's ring. Emma stared at it. What is that? I opened it. Her eyes widened. Ethan, I was going to ask you tonight. She covered her mouth. You were going to propose? Tears rolled down her cheeks. I didn't know. That's the problem. I never wanted this. Then don't marry him. She looked at me. I can't. Why? Because I've already made my choice. Your choice. I pointed at the expensive ring. You chose him. I chose a future. We had a future. We had a dream. That was enough. It wasn't enough for me. Those words cut deeper than I expected. Histoire de hair. What was missing? Security. I worked every day. I know. I was building something. I know. I loved you. I know. Then what else did you need? She wiped her tears. I needed to know I wouldn't spend my whole life struggling. I looked at the diamond again. So money was the answer? She didn't respond. Was. Stared at Emma, waiting for her to take back what she had said. I wanted her to look at me and say she was scared, confused, or making a terrible mistake. Instead, she slowly pushed the expensive ring toward herself. I know this hurts you, she whispered. You think. I never wanted to make you feel worthless. But that's exactly what you did. She shook her head. Ethan, please listen. I've been listening all night. Daniel can give me a different life. A different life? Yes. I looked at the ring. What kind of life? A secure life. I almost smiled. You keep using that word. Because it matters. I thought we mattered. We do. Then why isn't that enough? She looked down at her hands. Because love doesn't solve everything. No, but people who love each other solve things together. I'm tired of solving them. Her words left me silent. I remembered every night we had sat on our apartment floor because we couldn't afford a proper table. I remembered sharing one meal when money was tight. I remembered Emma laughing while telling me that someday we would have a beautiful home. You told me you didn't care about expensive things, I said. I thought I didn't. And now I know I want more. You could have told me. I was afraid. Afraid of me? Afraid of our future. I slowly closed my ring box. Did Daniel promise you all of this? Yes. What exactly did he promise? A house. I said nothing. Travel. I looked away. Financial security. My jaw tightened. And a life where I don't have to worry about every bill. I finally looked at her. So he bought your future. That isn't fair. Then explain it to me. He understands what I want. I understood you. Maybe you understood who I used to be. That sentence stayed between us. I felt something inside me changing. Emma, if I became successful tomorrow, would you still choose him? She didn't answer immediately. I don't know. Looked down at the simple ring I had bought for her. A few hours earlier, it had represented my entire future. Now it felt like a piece of evidence from a life that was already dead. Take it, I said. Emma looked confused. What? The ring. I can't. You were supposed to have it tonight. I don't deserve it. Maybe you're right. She flinched. I hadn't meant to sound cruel, but I was too hurt to soften my words. Ethan, please don't do this. Do what? Make me feel like a terrible person. You chose this. I know. You knew before you came here. She nodded. When did you decide? This afternoon. My chest tightened. This afternoon? Yes. So, while I was getting ready to meet you, you had already decided to leave me? I was going to tell you, but you still came. I couldn't face you over the phone. I laughed bitterly. You wanted to see my face when you broke my heart. No. Then why? Because part of me hoped you would stop me. What? She cried harder. I wanted you to give me a reason to stay. You should have stayed because you loved me. I did love you. I still do. Those words confused me more than anything else. If you love me, why are you leaving? Because love isn't enough for me anymore. I looked away. Then I guess nothing I say will change your mind. No. What about our plans? I'm sorry. Our apartment? I'm sorry. Our promises? I'm sorry. I closed my eyes. Every apology felt like another door shutting. Then Emma reached across the table. Please don't hate me. I pulled my hand away. I don't hate you. Then what do you feel? I feel stupid. You aren't stupid. I spent 3 years believing we wanted the same future. We did. No, you wanted the same dream until someone offered you a better version. She had no answer. I stood and picked up my ring box. Ethan, where are you going? Home. Can we talk tomorrow? I stepped outside and felt the cold night air hit my face. I stood on the sidewalk for a moment, staring at the restaurant window. Emma was still inside. For one foolish second, I hoped she would run after me. She didn't. I started walking. My apartment was only 20 minutes away, but that night, every step felt endless. I kept hearing her voice. Love isn't enough for me anymore. I had spent 3 years believing that love was the strongest thing two people could share. Apparently, I had been wrong. My phone vibrated. I stopped walking and looked at the screen. It was Emma. I almost ignored it. Then another message appeared. Please read this. I opened it. I'm sorry for hurting you. I know you wanted tonight to be special. I should have told you earlier. I stared at the words. Then another message arrived. I accepted Daniel's proposal before I came to the restaurant. My breathing stopped. I read it again. Before I came to the restaurant. She had already chosen him. Before she sat across from me. Before she looked into my eyes. Before I placed my ring on the table. She knew. I clenched my phone. Another message appeared. I made my decision this afternoon. Daniel asked me to marry him. And I said yes before I came to see you. I closed my eyes. That hurt more than anything she had said inside the restaurant. She hadn't come to decide. She had come to inform me. I typed one sentence. Why did you let me believe tonight mattered? I waited. 3 dots appeared. Then disappeared. They appeared again. Finally, her reply came. Because I was afraid to tell you the truth. I laughed quietly, but there was nothing funny about it. I put my phone away. When I finally reached my apartment, I sat on the edge of my bed and opened the ring box. The small diamond reflected the light. I imagined Emma wearing it. I imagined her smiling. I imagined the life I thought we would have. Then I closed the box. For the first time, I stepped outside and felt the cold night air hit my face. I stood on the sidewalk, staring at the restaurant window. Emma was still inside. I started walking, forcing myself not to look back at the restaurant again, ever. My apartment was only 20 minutes away, but every step felt endless. Her voice kept repeating inside my head. Love isn't enough for me anymore. I whispered. Then what was I supposed to do? My phone vibrated. I stopped and looked at the screen. Emma. I almost ignored it. Then a message appeared. Please read this. I opened it. I'm sorry for hurting you. I know you wanted tonight to be special. I should have told you earlier. I stared at the words, hoping they would say something different. Another message arrived. I accepted Daniel's proposal before I came to the restaurant. My breathing stopped. Before. She had already chosen him before she sat across from me. Before I opened my ring box. She knew. I clenched my phone. Another message appeared. I made my decision this afternoon. Daniel asked me to marry him, and I said yes before I came to see you. You already knew. I whispered. My phone vibrated again. I was afraid to tell you. I typed back. Why did you let me believe tonight mattered? The 3 dots appeared, then disappeared. They appeared again. Finally, her reply came. Because I was afraid you would hate me. I stared at the screen. I don't hate you. I typed. I just don't understand how you could do this. She answered quickly. I am sorry. Sorry doesn't change anything. Another message arrived. I hope someday you understand. I put my phone away and kept walking, refusing to answer a message. When I reached my apartment, I sat on the edge of my bed and opened the ring box. The small diamond reflected the light. I whispered, this was supposed to be yours. I imagined Emma wearing it. I imagined Emma smiling beside me on the day we would have married. Then I closed tea. I woke up before my alarm, but for several seconds, I didn't remember why my chest felt so heavy. Then I saw the locked drawer beside my bed. Everything came back. Emma, Daniel, the ring, the restaurant. I closed my eyes. Please let it have been a dream. It wasn't. My phone was on the table. I picked it up and saw 3 messages from Emma. Good morning. I hope you slept. Please talk to me. I stared at them without answering. A 4th message appeared. I know you're angry, but I don't want us to end like this. I laughed bitterly. How else could it end? I typed the words, but didn't send them. Instead, I threw the phone onto my bed and walked into the bathroom. I looked at myself in the mirror. I looked exhausted. You're fine, I told myself. My reflection didn't believe me. I got dressed and went to work. I thought staying busy would help. It didn't. Every sound reminded me of Emma. Every couple walking together made my stomach tighten. Even the smell of coffee reminded me of the mornings when Emma used to steal half of mine. At lunch, Ryan called. Where are you? At work. Are you okay? Yes. You're lying. I sighed. I don't want to talk about it. Then I'll talk. Ryan. What happened last night? I stayed silent. He understood. She left you? I swallowed. She chose Daniel. Ryan didn't speak for a moment. Then he asked, did she say why? Money. Ethan. She said she wanted security. Ryan cursed under his breath. I leaned against the office wall. I thought she loved me. She did. Then why wasn't that enough? Because people make choices for reasons we can't control. I could have given her more. No. I looked at the floor. What? You could have worked harder. You could have earned more. But none of that would guarantee she stayed. I shook my head. You don't understand. I understand more than you think. She looked me in the eyes and told me love wasn't enough. Spent the next several days pretending I was getting better. I went to work. I answered emails. I attended meetings. I smiled when people spoke to me. But every night, when I returned to my apartment, the silence reminded me of Emma. One evening, Ryan came over and found me sitting in the dark. You didn't turn on the lights. I didn't notice. He looked at me carefully. You're still thinking about her. I sighed. Every minute. You need to stop. I know. No, Ethan. You keep saying you know, but you're doing nothing. I looked at him. What am I supposed to do? Get angry. I am angry. Then use it. I shook my head. I don't want revenge. Who said anything about revenge? You did. I said anger. There's a difference. I looked toward the locked drawer. I keep thinking about the ring. Throw it away. I can't. Why? Because throwing it away feels like admitting everything was meaningless. Ryan sat beside me. Maybe it wasn't meaningless. Then why did it end? Because something can be real and still end. I looked at him. You make it sound easy. It isn't. Then why are you so calm? Because I'm not the one who got left. I laughed weakly. Fair enough. Ryan leaned forward. You need to make one decision. What decision? Are you going to spend the rest of your life trying to prove Emma made the wrong choice? I didn't answer. Or are you going to build a life that has nothing to do with her? I stared at the floor. I don't know. You do. I looked up. What if I become successful and she comes back? Ryan frowned. Then you'll decide what you want when that day comes. But what if she regrets leaving? Why does that matter? Because part of me wants her to regret it. Ryan nodded slowly. At least you're honest. I rubbed my face. I hate that part of me. Don't hate it. Just don't let it control you. That night, after Ryan left, I opened the drawer. The ring was S. The next morning, I woke up with one thought in my mind. I couldn't keep living like this. I got out of bed, made coffee, and sat at the small table beside my window. For the first time in weeks, I didn't check my phone. I needed to think about myself. My phone rang. I saw Emma's name. I let it ring. Then Ryan called. You ignored her. I know. How do you feel? Strangely calm. Good. I think I'm finally tired of hurting. Ryan laughed softly. That might be the smartest thing you've said. I looked around my apartment. This place feels different. Because she isn't here? No. Because I'm finally seeing it as mine. Ryan became quiet. What are you thinking? I want to start over. With Emma. Without her. He smiled through the phone. That's what I wanted to hear. I spent the afternoon going through old notebooks. Inside one of them, I found the business idea I had written about 2 years earlier. A small technology company. An idea I had once believed could change my life. I read the notes again. Then I whispered, why did I stop? My phone rang again. This time, it was my manager. Ethan, are you coming to the office? Yes. You sound different. I have something to work on. What? I'll tell you when it's ready. After the call, I opened my laptop. For the first time since Emma left, my mind became quiet. I worked for hours. I researched. I planned. I calculated. I made mistakes and corrected them. I didn't think about Daniel. I didn't think about Emma. I thought about what I could become. Late that night, Ryan came over. He looked at my screen. What is this? My business plan. He stared at me. You're serious? Completely. You've been working on this all day? Yes. He smiled. This is you. What do you mean? This is the Ethan I remember. The one who always wanted to build something. I leaned back. I almost forgot who I was. Then don't forget again. I looked at. Stayed awake until sunrise. Working on the business plan I had almost forgotten. I knew I was still hurt, but for the first time, my pain had somewhere useful to go. At 7, my phone rang. It was Emma. I answered. Why are you calling so early? I couldn't sleep. Neither could I. Are you still angry? I don't know. I want to see you. I don't think that's a good idea. Please, Ethan. I closed my eyes. What do you want? I want to explain. You already explained. No. I told you why I chose Daniel. I never told you why I was afraid. I stayed silent. She continued. My parents always told me that love wasn't enough. They said life was hard, and I needed someone who could protect me. And you believe them? I did. More than you believed me? Yes. Her answer hurt, but I respected her honesty. I'm sorry, she whispered. I know. Do you still love me? I looked toward the drawer where the ring was hidden. Yes. She began crying. I still love you too. I swallowed. But I can't go back, I said. Why? Because if I take you back now, I'll always wonder whether you came back because you love me or because Daniel couldn't give you what you expected. She didn't answer. I continued. I need to know that I'm enough without money. You were always enough. Then you should have chosen me. I know. The call became quiet. Finally, she said goodbye, Ethan. Goodbye, Emma. I ended the call. My hands were shaking, but I didn't cry. I opened the drawer and looked at the ring. Then I placed it inside the box and locked the drawer. I wasn't throwing it away. I was keeping it as a reminder of the man I had been and the man I wanted to become. I opened my laptop again. I typed it slowly. I will build a future that belongs to me. Then I saved the document. I knew rebuilding myself would be difficult, but I was finally willing to try. That morning, I didn't know how successful I would become. I started rebuilding my life the next morning. I woke before sunrise, went to work, came home late, ate whatever I could afford, and opened my laptop again. There was no Emma beside me. There was no one waiting for me. For the first time, everything depended on me. I looked at my business plan. Let's see if this idea can actually work. I spent the next few weeks researching the market, building a basic prototype, and contacting anyone who might listen. Most people ignored me. Some laughed. One investor looked at my presentation for less than 5 minutes before pushing it back. Your idea isn't strong enough. I nodded. What would make it stronger? Money. I almost smiled. That's exactly what I don't have. He shrugged. Then find some. I walked out without arguing. That night, I sat alone in my apartment and stared at my bank account. The number was frighteningly low. I whispered, maybe he's right. For a few seconds, I considered quitting. Then I remembered Emma. I immediately pushed the thought away. No, I didn't want to build something just to prove her wrong. I wanted something that belonged to me. So I started again. Weeks became months. I failed repeatedly. My first prototype crashed. My second version lost important data. A potential partner disappeared after promising to help. Another investor told me I was too inexperienced. One night, I slammed my laptop shut. I can't do this. I put my head in my hands. Then my phone rang. Ryan, what happened? I failed again. You've said that before. This time is different. Ow, I'm exhausted. Then sleep. I don't have time. You always say that. I need this to work. Ryan sighed. Ethan, you're trying to rebuild your entire life in one night. I don't know any other way. You don't have to destroy yourself to succeed. I stayed silent. He continued. Remember why you started. I looked at my business plan. I started because I didn't. Looked at Victor's hand for a second before shaking it again. You think my idea is worth noticing? I think your work is worth noticing. That's different. Very. I turned toward my laptop. Most people think it's a bad idea. Most people, investors, business owners, people I've contacted, and you. I looked at the screen. I think it can work. Then why do you care what they think? Because they're the ones with money. Victor laughed. Money doesn't make someone intelligent. Even noticed. He pulled a chair closer. Show me what you've built. I opened the prototype. For the next 20 minutes, I explained everything. Victor didn't interrupt. When I finished, he leaned back. You've made mistakes. I know. Your pricing is wrong. I suspected that. Your target market is too broad. I can fix it. You haven't protected your technology properly. I didn't have money for a lawyer. Victor looked at me carefully. You're not afraid of criticism. I've heard worse. Who hurt you? I froze. What? You work like someone trying to outrun something. I looked away. It's personal. I don't need the details. Good. Victor nodded. Then I'll ask something else. What happens if this company succeeds? I smiled slightly. I make money. That's your first answer? Yes. Try again. I thought about it. I become independent. Better. I don't have to worry about losing everything because someone else controls my future. Victor nodded. Now I understand. I frowned. What? You're not building a company. What am I building? Freedom. The word stayed with me. Victor helped me improve the business plan without asking for anything immediately. He introduced me to 2 developers and showed me where I was wasting money. For the first time, I felt like someone believed I could actually do this. Before leaving, Victor stopped at the door. Ethan. Yes. Don't make one mistake. I worked harder after Victor entered my life, but I worked differently. I stopped chasing quick success. I stopped comparing myself to Daniel. I stopped asking whether Emma would regret leaving me. I focused on building something that could survive without anyone's approval. Months passed. My first small contract arrived on a Tuesday morning. I stared at the email for almost a minute. Ryan, I said over the phone, we got it. What? Our first real contract. There was silence. Then Ryan shouted, Are you serious? Yes. Ethan, that's incredible. I laughed. It's only one contract. It's the first one. I looked at my computer. You're right. Call Victor. Already did. What did he say? He said, Now the real work starts. Ryan laughed. That sounds like him. I smiled. For the first time in years, I felt proud without thinking about Emma. But that feeling didn't last forever. One evening, Ryan called again. You need to hear something. What? Emma got married. I became completely still. When? Last weekend. I stared at the wall. To Daniel. Yes. I took a slow breath. Don't send me anything. I wasn't going. Promise me. I promise. I ended the call. Then I opened my laptop. I wanted to search for the wedding. I wanted to see her dress. I wanted to see her smile. I wanted to know whether she looked happy. My fingers moved toward the keyboard. Then I stopped. No. I closed the browser. I don't need to know. I went back to work. But that night, I couldn't sleep. I remembered the woman who once told me she would grow old beside me. Now she was someone else's wife. I whispered, I hope you're happy. The words hurt, but I meant them. Years began moving faster. My company grew from one room into a real office. I hired employees. I signed contracts. I made mistakes. I learned. Victor remained beside me, correcting me whenever success made me careless. One afternoon, I thought success would make the past disappear. It didn't. It simply gave me more reasons to keep moving. My company was growing faster than I expected. We had new clients, better technology, and a team I trusted. Victor still challenged every decision I made, while Ryan reminded me to leave the office before midnight. One Friday evening, Ryan walked into my office carrying 2 coffees. You're still working. I have a meeting tomorrow. You have a life tomorrow, too. I smiled. Since when are you my life coach? Since you became impossible. He placed the coffee on my desk. Come on. We're going out. I don't feel like it. You don't get a choice. I closed my laptop. Phoenix. We went to a quiet restaurant. For the first 20 minutes, we talked about business. Then Ryan became serious. Can I ask you something? Sure. If Emma came back tomorrow, would you take her back? My hand stopped halfway to my coffee. I looked at him. Why would you ask me that? Because I know you. I don't know. That wasn't an answer. It's the only honest answer I have. Ryan leaned back. You still love her? I looked down. I don't know what love feels like anymore. That's not true. I sighed. I remember loving her. And I remember what it cost me. Ryan stayed quiet. I continued. I've spent years building myself after she left. I don't want to become that broken person again. So you'd reject her? I didn't say that. Then what would you do? I'd ask why she came back. What if she said she was sorry? What if she said she made the biggest mistake of her life? I looked toward the window. I'd ask whether she regretted losing me or regretted losing the life she could have had with me. Ryan nodded slowly. That's a big difference. It matters. What if she really loved you? I remained silent. After a moment, I said, then I would have to decide whether I could trust her again. Eddie didn't speak for several seconds. Daniel? Yes. I sat down slowly. Are you sure? I checked twice. Why would Daniel want to invest in my company? That's what we need to find out. I stared at the documents on my desk. I haven't spoken to him in years. I know. Has he contacted Emma? I don't know. I rubbed my forehead. This can't be a coincidence. Victor remained silent. I finally asked, how much are they offering? Enough to make your company expand internationally. I almost laughed. Of course. What does that mean? Daniel always wanted to give people things they couldn't refuse. Victor's voice became firm. Don't make a decision based on your past. I won't. Promise me. I promise. After the call ended, I remained alone in my office. I looked through the investment proposal again. The numbers were extraordinary. The terms were unusually generous. But one question kept repeating in my mind. Why me? Daniel had everything. Money, connections, a powerful family, a successful company. He didn't need my business. Unless there was another reason. I called Ryan. He answered immediately. What happened? Daniel Blackwood. There was a pause. What about him? His investment group wants to fund my company. Ryan went silent. Are you serious? Yes. That's strange. I know. Don't accept anything. I wasn't planning to. Good. I looked at the documents. Ryan, what if he wants something? Then find out what. What if this is about Emma? Then stay away. I sighed. I thought I was done with him. You are. Unless you open the door. I looked at the proposal again. Maybe I should reject it. Maybe. But what if this investment could change everything? Then find another investor. I knew he was right. Still, curiosity kept pulling at me. The next morning, I met Victor in the conference room. He placed a proposal in front of me. I contacted their representative.